All right, I think it's time for Trainer Talk live for the personnel board. What's up, Greg?
Hey, Pete, how you doing today?
Good, good. Welcome, everybody. If you're joining us on Facebook Live, this is Trainer Talk from the Personnel Board of Jefferson County. This was a brainstorm actually Greg had a few months ago where he's like, man, when we do our formal training classes, we have so much fun in the breaks and while the people are doing their stuff, talking about things. We're like, we should just have a thing where we talk about stuff. And that relates to you, not just things we want to talk about, but stuff that relates to you and helps you become better. So if you're watching us on Facebook Live, go ahead and put stuff in the comments. We'll go ahead and allow people to kind of come in and share stuff with us. And we've got a third member of our team today, our good buddy, Kim. What's happening, Kim?
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Kim.
So happy to see everybody today. So again, this is laid back. It's relaxed. If you're watching live on Facebook, put your questions and comments into the Facebook stream on the Personnel Board Facebook Live. And if you're listening to the recording or watching it on our website, that's fine too. You can, play along and just hope that we answer the question that you're thinking about while you're watching or driving. Today's topic, Kim, is what?
Public speaking.
And who is our premier trainer around public speaking?
That would be me.
So Kim's got a history and a passion around public speaking. We all have our favorite training classes that we like to train, but Kim really loves public speaking. She loves sharing things. So we'll be coming to her for some expertise today, as well as we kind of get started. So, all right, let's go ahead and get started, y'all. I'm going to throw a couple of these ideas out here. Again, be sure that you join us on putting your comments in there. If you want them, take this banner down so you can see us. All right, let's go ahead and get to question number one, y'all. People freak out about public speaking, and we tend to lump all of the public speaking into one thing. It's just public speaking. But there's a difference between giving a speech at a conference or leading a Bible class at church, or I know the police department has a lot of what they call roll call meetings where you got to start the day with that. Or maybe if you work in an operation setting in manufacturing, you have like a kickoff meeting where you've got to start during the day. So Greg, I'll kind of start with you. What are some of the nuances around speaking for these different types of things that you have to talk about?
Yeah, I think the basics for each one, Pete, is you have to be prepared. You've got to be prepared if you're going to give a speech, your meeting, your class, the training session, all of those things, the preparation before you do it is vital. And that helps you get into that comfort zone of where you're the subject matter expert that people are listening to.
Yeah. So again, the preparation, depending on what the speech is or the talk's going to be. Kim, what about, what if someone who leads a roll call meeting for police, which is just like a morning kickoff meeting, they may not think of themselves as public speaking, but they are, right? I mean, that's kind of a talk or a speech, right? Oops, you're muted.
Yes, there's different forms. So there's formal and then there's informal. Okay. And I would call talking at a roll call, that's informal, but it's still public speaking. Yes. And so you still have to make sure you're using that formal language and you're not using slang and you've prepared, as Greg said, because you're still up in front of people speaking. So you have to, I think, recognize, is it a formal? Am I in front of a large audience?
Yep.
Or is this just and I don't want to just say but am I a team meeting where, it's a smaller setting, it's a different type of setting, and it's informal. Regardless, it's still public speaking.
Yes.
So you still need to use that proper language, remember the time, remember your audience and all of that.
Well, let's go ahead and start with you because we've got 6 tips, y'all. Very informal, 6 simple tips to kind of talk about today, because I know a lot of us have to speak in different arenas. And the first one is the fear. And, you can look to all the studies that say things like death and taxes and public speaking, are the biggest fears. I'd rather, cut off my own arm than speak in front of people. So Kim, I know in our formal training sessions, what are some of the things that people can do to help minimize just the fear? And what is the fear? Where does the fear come from?
Well, yeah, it's so funny. I tell my class, I found a quote that said, people would rather be the person in the casket than the person up speaking. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
But public speaking, the fear of speaking in public is still like way at the top. It's number one. And, it's a real fear. And the best thing I tell my class, either if fear means two things, you face everything and rise, or you face everything and run, whatever. But it's real. And so I think the best way to really overcome this fear is, first of all, knowing your topic and making sure if you don't care about it, then we are not going to care about it. So pick something that you're passionate about, that you are a SME, you are the subject matter expert on it. You love it. You're passionate about it. And then make sure, you have your topic, but you need to prepare. I think preparation will help cut down on that fear if you practice and prepare. And we have these great cell phones now, so you don't have to just look in the mirror or practice on your family, but you can record yourself and look at yourself. And so for me, to face this fear and to overcome it is really being prepared, making sure you practice some more, being prepared, and making sure you have a grasp on your topic and you care about your topic.
If you're just joining us, welcome to Trainer Talk. We're doing today's topic is public speaking skills. And again, we're all professional trainers, professional speakers. So you would think that we don't have any fear. But Greg, tell us about your journey and things you think about before you start speaking.
Oh, I think about, the area, I'm looking at the classroom. How much space do I have? I want to review my slides beforehand. I want my questions ready, my talking points, and things that I am going to introduce to get my audience engaged. So, the preparation things are, find the people in the audience that are nodding their head and making you comfortable so you can forget about speaking and really think about having a conversation with the people that are in the audience. So I'm always, believe it or not, I'm always having the butterflies even before class, or before I get up in front of church to do our service host or announcements, as we call them. And so that butterfly is really the anticipation for what I'm expecting to deliver. Of course, we all want to be good at delivering, but I think that preparation and finding your comfortable space is what makes you face that fear and get to the delivering of what it is that Kim mentioned, your subject, and how you're passionate about what you want to deliver.
I mean, I'll talk about my son for a second. How he got all introversion from his two extroverted parents, I have no idea, but he is a shy guy. And at our church, we have what's called Senior Sunday. So when you're a senior in high school, the seniors are the ones that do the announcements and do the prayers and lead kind of the stuff, and all the seniors. Well, he told us this, his sophomore year, he started doing the math and saw that he was the only boy in the senior class. And that meant that he was going to be asked to go up and do the prayer. And he said ever since he was a sophomore, he was worried about that because he knew he was going to be asked to do it and he had to do it. And he actually thought about going and recruiting people to come join the church who were his age. Just so someone else would be called up to do the prayer on that day. So, I mean, it's real. It's real.
It's real fear. I mean, I know people that are like, you know what, I got to go throw up before it is just real. They're sweating, whatever. But again, I think it's all about that preparation and all about just,
Well, let's go ahead and jump into tip number 2, Greg, which is know your audience. So again, preparation we're going to cover in tip 4. So some good foreshadowing from Kim there. But if you have to give a speech or lead a meeting or give a presentation at work, why is knowing who's going to be in there, who the audience is, why is that important, Greg?
It's going to help you with two things. It's going to help you find the people that can help you deliver your message, number one.
Okay.
And so you want to, if you have an opportunity to ask that person questions, it kind of minimizes the time that you have to talk, but you get the subject matter expert engaged in what you're delivering, and they can assist you with what you're presenting. So knowing who are the experts, who's going to be in the audience, who can you ask questions to start the dialogue?
Yeah.
Who is it that I can, if I can't answer a question, who can I get involved to say, hey, can you take this question for me? You've done this in the past.
Somebody I can count on. Somebody I can count on.
Yeah. And that makes a difference. And that minimizes your fear, because now you know you have an advocate in the room with you.
Yeah.
Versus being the person that's expected to answer every question that may come up.
Yep. Kim, you agree with that on knowing your audience?
Yeah, and also another tip about knowing your audience is your language and what you say, how you dress, all of that needs to be, you need to consider your audience. So if you're speaking to a auditorium full of teenagers, they tell you, dress a step above your audience. So you wouldn't go in there in your Sunday's best, but you would dress appropriately for your audience. And then your language needs to be on the level of that audience. So what you say and the words, if you're using acronyms and I don't know anything, what in the world, I don't even work in that. So you need to make sure you know your audience and know how to address them.
Absolutely. Tiffany's watching us. So is LaShawn, Linda. Thank you all for being with us live. Tiffany asked this, y'all. She goes, how do I keep from stumbling over my words? Sometimes I have so many thoughts going through my mind that my words tend to stumble when I'm out speaking in public. Well, first of all, I'll try this and I'll throw it back to the team. First of all, welcome to the club. Because sometimes I find myself doing this. Okay, so the reason you want to do, okay, hold on, there's three things. And you're just going through and you're just stopping because you're trying to reset and all that. So the first thing is it's normal, especially as you're going, but it's very important also, like I think Greg mentioned earlier, kind of have an outline. And we're going to talk about notes and things like that as well. But if you know where you're going, we train our classes all the time. We do 2-hour virtual trainings, 3.5-hour virtual trainings. Well, even today with a class I've done 1 million times, I still have right in front of me just a few notes so that in case I get off track, I can look down. If you're at a podium, you can do that. And for a lot of us, slowing down is when we slow down, we think we're boring the audience. The reality is dramatic pauses and 4-second stops and all that. That's normal. That's okay. We think it sounds like a long time to stop for 3 seconds, but it really doesn't. What do you all think about Tiffany's question about stumbling? Who wants to add into that?
Well, I, like you said, join the club, because I do it all the time. But what I find, what helps me is having note cards and having what I'm going to say bulleted, because when I try to read something, my eyes are crossed. I'm already nervous. No matter how many times I do this, I'm already nervous. Then my eyes are crossing. I'm looking down. I'm like, wait a minute. I lost my place. I'm sorry. Can I restart? All that? No. So I make sure to have note cards bulleted. And then it's okay to take pauses, gather thoughts, and come back in.
Yeah.
Just stop talking. It's okay. And we are so uncomfortable with those like silence.
Those pauses. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that's when we're like, like for sure. And we start stumbling and because you just don't know what to say next. It's okay. Stop talking.
And if you're comfortable, Tiffany, we'll talk about this in tip 4. If you're comfortable with self-deprecating humor, people want to know that you're a person and know that you're real and not a robot. So if I were to say, okay, so the three, Okay, no, what I'm trying to say is the three. Apparently, someone drank too much coffee today.
Right.
Okay, the three. I mean, you know, if you're okay with that type of self-deprecating humor, people will go, yeah, they're just like me. So again, you want to use that carefully. Let's go to tip 3. Thanks for the question. Tip 3 is work the room before you speak. Now, this can apply to both virtual training and meetings, but also in person. And here's what I mean by that. And Greg kind of alluded to this earlier. Let's start with big conferences first of all. All right. So heaven forbid you get accepted to go give a speech at a conference or a presentation or a Rotary Club, or this could even be a Bible class at church or something like that where there's 30, 40, 50, hundreds of people in the room. What you don't want to do if you're talking at 10 o'clock is be the person on your computer up front doing last second stuff, 9:50, go to the restroom at 9:55, double check everything, come back, run back in at 9:59 and get started because you're so bad. From 9:45 to 10, wander the room. Shake a hand. Hey, what's your name? Hey, I'm glad you're here today. Thanks for coming to class today. We're going to be doing Psalms. Hey, where are you from? You know, hey, good to see. How long have you been in Rotary? And what that does is you're creating a connection. Now, when you make eye contact with that person, they're on your side. They're on your team. They already have created a relationship. So do you guys buy into that? Is there any working the room that you guys do virtually or in person?
It's very important, Pete. I think not only to work the room, but if you can remember the person's name and to add them into the conversation that you're having from the podium or from, you know, what you're doing, that adds value because you've made that connection. And I do it on all the classes. Of course, I want to, you know, speak to everybody. I want to call them by name. I want to find them. You know, what are they doing? Are you know, did you guys get off work or what's going on in your day to day? And that just breaks the ice and sets the energy and the mode for your class that day or the session that you're going to deliver. So it's very important to work the room. And it gets you in a comfort zone because you're not doing last minute things.
Yeah. And Kim, we can do this virtually too, can't we? I mean, we can do it in virtual meetings.
Yeah, you can. You know, even when we teach our classes, and it's never. I can't function last minute. I get all upset even before this call. I'm just all upset and nervous. I can't do it. I like to have 30 minutes, sometimes even an hour, just to test, prepare, make sure everything's ready to go. And so even with our virtual classes, I like to be there and have some music on. So when the people are popping in, I can say, hey, hello, how are you? As Greg said, I can kind of pick up, have they been working all night? Or, you know, are they going to participate? Let me start talking to them and make them comfortable. And in turn, I'm actually helping myself as well. So just don't do that last minute anything.
Right.
Oh my God.
But I mean, Greg hit it. If you're doing a speech or a Rotary Club speech or a presentation or whatever, and I've talked to Greg before, and I'm going through my regular page talk, and then I say, you know what? Greg and I were talking about this earlier this morning. He shared this. So all of a sudden, you validated that person.
Yeah.
They know that you're connecting with them, that you're not just a robot. So again, you may think that those of you who are introverted and are freaked out about the speech, and now we're saying, hey, before the speech, get yourself even more out there by talking to that. You're like no, like the last thing I want to do. But we're telling you that gets you more in a comfortable frame of mind, and you'll find allies. They'll say things like, we look forward to hearing what you have to say today. Looking forward to hearing you. The audience wants us to succeed. The audience doesn't want us to crash and burn. They don't want that. So they're out there. So good questions. Keep those questions coming if you're watching on Facebook Live. All right, we've got a lot in tip 4, y'all, and I don't even know where you want to start. But Kim, you hit on prepare, and here's a few things that I put in there. Should you use a podium or not a podium? Do you stand behind something? How about slides? Some people say always use PowerPoint slides. Some people say no, it's all about just the message. Should you carry notes? Does notes make you look weak or not weak? How do I use humor and how do I rehearse? So Kim, pick one of those and tell us your opinion, because this is not a right or wrong. These are just opinions.
Well, slides, I'll start with slides. I love slides. I think they're awesome. I think they can enhance your presentation. But the thing is to remember that's all they're there for, is to enhance. You have a lot of people when they give a presentation, they talk to the PowerPoint instead of their audience. So here I am, here's my PowerPoint, and I'm seeing PowerPoint. No, again, your PowerPoint is just there to enhance, and don't have a lot of slides, a couple slides, depending on how many minutes you're asked to speak. Also, don't have them too busy. So it's not good to have a lot of stuff flying in and out. I love PowerPoint. I love what it can do, but you need to make sure that your PowerPoint is appropriate for, again, your audience, what you're speaking about, not a whole lot of loud, bold colors, but make sure your font is the right size so that we can read it. And again, you're just going to point maybe or refer to it, but you're speaking directly at your audience.
At the audience.
To that slide.
Right. Greg, do you have slide opinions?
I like slides, but I prefer images versus a lot of text. And using the images to get you to your next question or your next point, or, you know, kind of, it helps you to talk about what's going on. So, you know, and in your rehearsal, I know what image is coming next. So I'm thinking of what's my conversation and how should my tone be with this next image, or how do I set it up for the next thing? So
yeah, really good points. And again, we've over the past 10 years, if you recall, PowerPoint used to be bullet point, bullet point, bullet point. Then you read them, and it got to the point where, you know, the industry or the audience would always say, if you're going to hand me a handout of your PowerPoint slides that has all the bullets that I can read, and you're going to be reading, why are we even here? Just give it to me. So and that's hard because, again, it can be, crutch isn't the right word, safety net, safety valve.
Absolutely.
First time you do a speech, you're going to want to put the things on the bullet points. But I like what Greg says, rather than write all the bullet points, like Kim says, maybe an image with like a couple of words that will pop your attention and make you know. What about podiums, y'all? What about, I want to stand behind a table. I want to be behind a podium. I love American Idol. And so I just when they get to the last 24, the whole other stuff. But it's funny to watch these guitar players who live behind their guitar while they're singing. And then when they're coached to take the guitar off and just perform, their hands are like, they don't know what to do with their hands, you know, because that's like a safety net. So is it okay to stand behind something, Greg or Kim, or should you not?
I like a podium, but, you know, you have to be very careful that it doesn't become a crutch and you don't hide behind the podium. I like the podium because if I have a laptop or I have notes, I've got a place that I can go to. And it gives you the ability to put some space in between, you know, maybe a question that you've asked. And now you move over, and so your audience is moving and not just focused in one particular spot. But I don't like a podium if the person is just going to stand there and lean on it. You know, to me, I want you to move around. I want you to engage me. I want you to, you know, connect with the audience. Don't hide. That tells me that you're afraid of something if you're hiding behind that podium.
Yep. Good point, Kim.
And a lot of times, going with what Greg said, a lot of times people are afraid and they are, you know, fearful. So in my class, when I tell them I will have a podium up there, and I tell them, you know, don't hug it, don't lean on it. There to offer you some support. That's it. And a lot of times that's how they use it. It's just support. I've had people to hug it. I've had people to lean on it and to squeeze it so it feels like it looks like it's about to break. They're afraid, right? So again, that's just something there to offer you a little added support. Use it. Organize your note cards on it. Maybe place a hand on it. It also helps you not to do the box step, you know, when you're out and you're just box stepping because you're nervous. And I call it box step because you're just doing as you're standing and we're trying to follow you dancing, and it's very distracting. So for some people, a podium will work. Me, I don't have to.
And again, I think these all fall into each other because, again, knowing your audience, if I'm just doing a morning meeting shift with my team, I kind of want to be out there. I kind of want to be with my team, talking to them. Here's things we're going to accomplish today. So it doesn't look like me, manager, you employee, so we kind of that dialogue. But I also understand if I'm giving a speech to a bunch of medical doctors, and I'm wandering the whole time, and they're like, just stand there and tell us your message. So again, we're the messenger sharing a message out there. And so be aware of that. Finally, Kim, you touched on rehearsal a little bit. I have to admit, I don't do this a lot, and I should do it more than I do. I chalk it up to, that's Pete's nutty, witty charm that he has no idea where he's going. And it's totally, when in reality, the audience is going, dude, should have practiced. We have no idea what you're talking about. So tell me a little bit about, how long, ways to and we're talking about speeches, right? Not like leading, you're going to practice to lead a meeting. But if you're doing a Bible class, or if you're leading something at your church, or professional speech at a Rotary Club or whatever, how do you rehearse? How do you practice?
Well, I think first of all, making sure you choose a topic that, again, you're very interested in,
okay,
and making the notes on that topic, not paragraphs that you're
okay,
going to read, but you're going to bullet. You're going to put 5 to 6 bullets, have that introduction, and then have a couple bullets, that meaty part in the middle, and then have that ending. So making sure you break your speech up into that. And then when you start practicing, I've told my class, you have these great cell phones.
mm-hmm.
They record.
Mm-hmm.
Use your cell phone, record yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do your speech the day before you have to present it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, don't just, I've had people, I had to work last night, so I just prepared my speech, and I'm like, yeah,
mm-hmm.
hell. But, the thing is you need time, as far as maybe 2 or 3 days before you're presenting that speech, to practice, go over it, record yourself, listen, maybe I shouldn't say that. Or did you see how I have a lot of nervous twitches,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like playing with my ears the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Put your head.
Glasses up, glasses down, glasses up, glasses down, glasses up, glasses down.
But you wouldn't know that until you go back and look at it and see. I talk with my hands, and so it's distracting. But I only notice that when I go back and look at myself and keep recording and keep practicing. So I think, I don't know the time. I just wouldn't wait till the day of to try and practice, but I would give myself time to at least record myself 3 or 4 times
and watch it back.
I think with Zoom, Pete, you should practice, especially if you haven't looked at your slides in a while, or you've got video and different things that are going on, and the flow of what you're communicating may not match what you really want to say. So it's important to go through and just look at them, not the day before or hours before, but give yourself a couple of days in between to really think about what it is that you're going to communicate.
Yeah.
And then does it match how you really want it to come out in your presentation? I think that helps out a lot.
I agree, Greg, because Zoom and in person are totally different.
Totally different.
And when we have tried to teach our class like on Zoom, like we did in person, it just does not work.
And it's interesting because, again, on these laptops, and we consider ourselves pseudo professionals who are doing this, and I'm staring at the 3 of you while I'm talking, and I should be looking at here because my audience is out there. Right. And I should be using my peripheral vision to see everybody else, but I'm always I'm looking at me, and I'm like, is that what I look like? Is that what and so now all of a sudden we've lost. Yeah. So even preparing to see where your eyes go and how you do all of that. Maureen, Linda, LaShawn, thank you for joining us. We got some live. If you got any questions, we've got about 10 more minutes here. If you have any questions, sort of let us know what your thoughts are on that. Okay, let's go to this tip here. Let me take this branding down here. All right. Tip 5, own the mistakes instead of blaming others. Now, this is a little one, but with technology, the fastest way to lose your audience is to start blaming everything. Oh, I'm just horrible at Zoom. I have the worst Wi-Fi ever. Well, this is the dumbest. Or if you're in, my PowerPoint worked earlier. I don't know why it's not working now. And this is why I hate giving speeches, because of don't do that. If you're using technology with a speech or a meeting, bad things are going to happen. It's inevitable, but just say, hey, my bad, I didn't have that. Let me put that aside. Let me just get to the message. Be prepared for the worst to happen. We, most of the time, have our slides printed out when we're in a class. If the power goes out, or if something happens, we know where we're going. So always prepare for the worst, because the one day you don't, you're going to show up and everything's going to crash around you and you're going to feel miserable. So do y'all ever do that? Do y'all ever get frustrated when things start going bad?
Oh, yeah.
You mean
like today?
All the time.
Yeah.
You just have to have a plan. You have to have a plan for all right, well, how if the lights go out or the power goes out in my PowerPoint, how am I going to continue? Because the audience really doesn't care that you had this mishap.
Correct.
They don't care at all.
At all.
So
right.
you have to continue to deliver and continue to be the professional.
Right.
And so how do you move on when things happen? You have to have a plan and prepare for it.
Yep.
And even when I like when you went this tip, Pete, but I would even take it a step further when we have people up and they're giving their speeches and they make mistakes. A lot of times we don't know that you've made a mistake.
Yep.
Until you bring attention to it.
Yep.
Oh man, I'm sorry. Can I start over? Can you start the time over?
Yeah.
I just say that, oh, I'm stupid. And I'm like, what? All of this in front of people. It's like, I tell them, you, as you said, prepare for something to go wrong.
Yeah.
You're going to forget something you've said. You've memorized the yes, but questions are going to come up, all of this. Just be prepared. And if you think it's okay.
It's okay. But but the key is not to go, hang on, I'm going to call IT, y'all. I'm going to see if I can get them up here and get this fixed. Crickets. Hang on, we can't get. No, you've got to have a plan.
You have to.
Your audience is ready. So definitely have a plan. All right, let's finish up strong here with tip number. Oh, we got. I renumbered these. Well, you get 2 number 5s then. You get 2 number 5s. All right. Never stop improving. We have a personnel board training class on how to give speeches. Greg, I want you to talk about Toastmasters in a second and what they teach as far as speech growth. And then there's TED Talks you can watch out there, and there's books you can read. So all of us, when we had to change from in-person training to virtual training, we created a repository. And we loaded the repository full of articles on how to do virtual training and books. And we watched webinars because it was something new and we had to get better at it. Greg, what can Toastmasters do and what is Toastmasters?
Toastmasters is a group that meets on a regular basis, and it's geared to help you really overcome your fear of public speaking and to get better at public speaking. It gives you the confidence to be able to stand in front of an audience and talk about anything. And there are several Toastmasters clubs around the city of Birmingham. So find one in your area, and I'd encourage you to go visit and participate. Jefferson County has one. The city of Birmingham has one. There's one at Alabama Power and Regions. And so really it's geared to really help you become a better communicator.
And it's very interesting because during COVID, some of that might have shifted because it's very much an in-person meeting. You support each other, you grow each other, all that. So I'm not sure what's happening during COVID, but you can just Google Toastmasters and find something.
That's right.
Find something close to you. The main thing I've learned from Toastmasters is they tend to focus a lot on the professional speech. It's going to be a lot about storytelling and beginning, middle, and end, and closing, and just the power of the speech. So if you do that type of stuff, Toastmasters is great. If you're looking for just, how do I not be nervous teaching my Bible class? How do I not be nervous if I'm leading my staff meetings? Some of that may be in there, but a lot of it, it's in there too. So, I mean, there's some value in that. Kim, do you ever go and watch videos or read books or anything?
I do. I love TED Talks. Those are great. I watch a lot of YouTube videos. and not as many books, but again, I do a lot of TED Talks and YouTube videos. And
Learn.
I think a great way to get practice is to volunteer.
Yes.
When there is something at work, for instance, and they need someone to lead something, hey, put your hand in there. So that's going to prepare and research, and it'll help you get the practice. So
practice, absolutely.
LinkedIn has a lot of good resources as well, Pete, to see other trainers or just other people providing speeches or being the subject matter expert in public speaking settings. So that's a good resource as well.
LinkedIn, good. LinkedIn Learning, all of that. Here's my last one. We've covered it a little bit, y'all, but let's just double down again on virtual, because a lot of us, again, are doing virtual meetings, leading virtual. And while it's not a speech per se, if we do this wrong, our personal brand's going to be affected. The way people view us is going to be. So let's just kind of do a real quick round robin. Okay. And I didn't even tell you guys we're going to do this. You know why? Because it just popped in my mind. You know why? Because I have no script for today. So it's just what we're going to do. 15 seconds or less. Let's go around. Tell me something that will help you be successful when you're leading a meeting in Zoom. I'll go first. Your background. Okay. Yeah. There is a value to a virtual background, but there's also value to deciding if you just want to have just a regular background like this. So the key is it can't be distracting. So if it's just a staff meeting where the waves are going and all, that's different. But if you're trying to get interesting points across and be serious in a topic, make sure that your virtual background or real background looks professional. So there's one. Greg, give me something that's important when you're leading a Zoom meeting.
Just, clear communication. Your audio has to be clear. Your audience has to be able to hear what you're saying, whether you're using a wireless microphone, you have on a headset, you have a microphone on a boom or stand. That communication and that audio is key.
Good one. Good. Kim, what do you think? I'm leading a Zoom meeting. What do I have to know?
Making sure that you look at the camera.
Okay.
Because it's easy. I know exactly. And when we first started, I would be looking, we have two screens. So
right.
That other screen and the camera's here. So all the while you're looking at the side of my face and I'm looking at the PowerPoint. So making sure that you focus on your audience.
Good one.
Keep eye contact. That helps them also stay engaged.
Good one. Speaking of engaged, we'll go around one more. I'll do one. Keep your audience engaged in whatever manner you need to do if you're leading a meeting, because there are some places I've seen where cameras on are optional. I would highly recommend if you're leading a meeting, cameras on should not be out. Cameras are on. This is a meeting. I want to see you so I can react to your verbals. I'm sorry, to your facial, to kind of all that. So my big thing, if I'm leading a meeting, is if I've just got 12 boxes with people's names, how can I give a good speech presentation message if I can't see you? So mine would be, if there's nothing wrong, make sure your cameras are on. Greg?
Yeah. Get very good at reading the body language virtually.
Okay.
Whether the eyes are there or, people are slouching or they're not engaged. That lets the facilitator or the speaker know that I need to change something. I've either got to ask more questions. Yep. I need a different slide. I have to do something different in my communication to bring my audience back engaged with me. So body language is key.
All right, Kim, the pressure's on. Do you have one more?
Oh, yeah. Making sure all the great things that Zoom offers. So making sure you're comfortable with annotate, making sure you're comfortable with the chat, because those are tools that help you keep your class, your participants engaged. But if you don't know how to use them, then they become a distraction.
Yeah. I mean, we can look back years and years ago. People used to hate webinars. It's a talking head for 45 minutes over clicking slides.
Yes.
You've come so far.
So far.
With everything between using Slido or using Kahoot, these apps you can get. There's polls, there's chat, there's annotate. All these things we do. Don't let that overcome your speech or overcome your talk. It shouldn't be all bells and whistles, but use it to enhance your message. I mean, virtual is hard.
Speaking
virtually is hard. And so how do you keep people engaged for so long? Kim's right. Use all those things. Hey, y'all, this has been great. We're at 11:40. We are at our time. If you were with us live today, we appreciate it. Forward this on to your friends on Facebook so maybe they'll watch it. If you're watching live still, go ahead and like us, put a heart, do something in there so that we know. And if you're a Merit System employee in Jefferson County, we'll be putting this on our meritmatters.org Facebook page for future watching for your friends and family and all that. Any closing thoughts, y'all? How do you feel?
Feel good. Keep the energy up in those Zooms as well.
Yes. Make sure you've got your energy.
Make sure you have the energy.
Face it, face everything and rise. You can do speaking, not your enemy.
Yep. Kim's a perfect example. Be prepared. Be prepared. If your laptop doesn't work, you grab your phone, you go outside.
Move it. Hey.
We're doing it.
We're doing it.
We're doing it. Thanks, you guys. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. See you all.
Thanks. Good job, guys.